two things are going to happen in 2027. Either number one, Kenya is going to witness a Kibaki moment where the entire opposition will agree to front a single candidate.
Hiyo karibu tutajua, lakini nataka mtoke hapa leo, turudi nyumbani mkiwa hamna taswishi wote au wasiwasi yote ya kwamba bado upinzani imegawanyika. Tumeungana, tuko kitu gapi? Wangapi wanaunga mkono nione?
And if that were to happen, I can assure you, William Ruto will go home very early in the morning, even before the vote begins. But will it happen? Or, number two, Kenya is likely to witness a Matiba moment where none of the opposition leaders will agree to leave space for the other, because all of them will be convinced that they have a chance of winning the presidency in 2027. And if Matiba moment will happen, William Ruto will be smiling all the way to State House without even campaigning. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin this video by asking you this simple question. Do you think the opposition will be able to front a single candidate? I know it's possible, but who can agree to live for the other? Let us just narrow our list to only 3 people. Fred Matiang'i, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Edwin Sifuna. We have those 3. I want to remove Rigathi Gachagua out of the picture, because Rigathi has indicated his willingness not to run. Of course, being impeached means he cannot run. So let us have those 3. Do you think any of them can live for the other? Because from what I'm seeing, the NIS is creating a situation where neither of them will agree to live for the other. All of them will be convinced that they have the best chance of winning. And that's how William Ruto is going to win. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I want to reveal to you guys why 2027 might be another Matiba moment. Before we do that, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been studying the political developments in the Republic of Kenya very closely. But some things are not making sense to me. I'm saying this because if you are to take the game of numbers, William Ruto is not favored. But again, something is also happening. Several presidential candidates are emerging. As we speak, if Sifuna were to declare his bid today, perceptionally, in the eyes of the young people, Sifuna would beat everybody for the presidency. In the eyes of the campers, they believe with the support of Rigathi, Kalonzo is the next president. For Matiani, he's going to be on the ballot because there's also Uhuru Kenyatta factor. But let's assume that the two of them agree and one bolts out, says, okay, for me, I'm going for the presidency. We are going to have a Matiba moment. So why are we going to have Matiba moment? Number one, of the opposition candidates is being made to believe that they are very popular. You know, when Matiba came back to Kenya after medication in London, according to Lee Njiru, they organized massive homecoming for him. When Matiba saw the crowd, he could not believe his eyes. He was then persuaded that Jaramogi, who was a Luo, did not have the numbers. And indeed, when elections were conducted, Moi became number one with 35%. Matiba was number two. Which means whatever he was sold was the truth, that he was going to defeat Jaramogi. This is exactly what I'm seeing. Sifuna is going to defeat Kalonzo. That's the reality. So he must be on the ballot. Because again, if you want to be on the ballot, a lot of dynamics are also going to change. So unless these guys will be willing to sacrifice, because without sacrificing, none of them will agree. That's number one. Number two, you see, Raila Odinga became very powerful in the Republic of Kenya without becoming the president of the Republic of Kenya. As a matter of fact, there are people who believe that Raila Odinga did not want to become the president of the Republic of Kenya. Because, for example, if he had become the president in 2007, he would have been rendered irrelevant very long time ago. So, and here's the truth. There is the political parties' funds, which sustains most of these political parties. Kalonzo has his wiper. If he were to run for the presidency, he's going to sweep Kambani, and some parts of Coast will have MPs. And that will help him, even if he doesn't become the president. And that's why it's going to be very difficult. Sifuna is going to form his party. And based on the way they've been received across the country, what's going to happen is that Sifuna will also be persuaded that he is the most popular. And therefore, his party will win most political seats. And with more political seats, he will qualify for the political party's funds. Remember, Kalonzo used to complain that Raila Odinga and ODM used to enjoy majority because they were the presidential candidates. In this case, he will not allow any other party to be the presidential candidate to increase his numbers. The thing is, the idea of political parties' funds is why most of these parties will produce a presidential candidate. Sifuna, for example, if he's a presidential candidate, he'll be sure of sweeping Western Kenya and, of course, several seats. And number three, this is something which most people don't talk about. There is the post 2027 politics. Let's assume William Ruto is re-elected. He's going to serve for only one term and then over. But assume Ruto is defeated by Kalonzo. It will mean Kalonzo will be serving two term. That's going to be his vision or aim. Okay, let's assume that it's not Kalonzo who has won. Let's assume it's Edwin Sifuna. If Edwin Sifuna were to win post 2027, it would mean that he will have to wait. Kalonzo will have to wait for 10 years for Sifuna to complete in 2037. How old will be Kalonzo then? Will he even be irrelevant? Will he even be relevant at that time? So those are some of the dynamics. And importantly, the pressure from their supporters. And not only supporters, even their key allies. Because politics is about interest. Kalonzo Musyoka's allies from Ukambani would want a situation where Kalonzo is a presidential candidate so that it will make their campaigns easy on the ground. The allies of Edwin Sifuna, the young people there, they also want to send a statement. Yeah? So they are piling pressure on Sifuna to run. So Sifuna will definitely run. What about Fred Matiang'i? Fred Matiang'i is really being pushed by the Gusii community with the help of Uhuru Kenyatta. And they believe that based on his track record, he can easily win. So the pressure from their supporters, which brings me to my last point, which is political survival. Some of these guys, if they're not on the ballot in 2027, they will not survive. Raila survived in 2007 because we had the old constitution. So he was able to still become the MP for Langata. Or was it Kibra at that time? He was still able to do that. And because most of the things were in parliament, he was still able to now play his politics. But a situation where Sifuna will lose and he's not a senator, or Kalonzo will finally lose, you see, there's going to be a problem for them. So most of these guys will be willing to run for their own political survival. Someone like Kalonzo can even pitia katikati and support Ruto. Until next time, Makwiny, bye-bye.